Hello, my friends. Today we continue on our reading with Genesis, chapter 28. And Isaac called Jacob, and blessed him, and charged him, and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padanaram, to house the Bethuel thy mother's father, the house of Bethuel thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban thy mother's brother. And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, and thou mayest be a multitude of people, and give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee, and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padanaram, and unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. And that's a lot to take in. And Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob, and sent him away to Padanaram, to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him he gave him a charge, an order, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and was gone to Padanaram. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau to Ishmael, and took unto the wife which he had Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth to his wife. And Jacob went out from Beersheba, and went towards Haran. And he lightened, or came to, uh, upon a certain place, and tarried, or stayed, there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place, and put them for his pillows, and lay down in the place to sleep. And he, Jacob, dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angel of God ascended and descended on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it, and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. And the land whereon thou liest, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land, and I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awakened out of his sleep, and said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose early in the morning, and took the stone that he hath put for his pillows, and set it for a pillar, and poured oil on top of it. And he said the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on, so that I come to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house. And for all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee, which is probably where tithes come from. Chapter 29. Then Jacob went on his journey, and came unto the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And there were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again atop of the well's mouth in the place. Well being Well, not the animal. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said to them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is ye high day, neither it is time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot, until all the flock be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel the daughter of Laban his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban his mother's brother, that Jacob went near, and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice, and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him into his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because art thou my brother's, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters, and named the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah was tender-eyed, or weak-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel thy younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee, than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me thy wife, for the days are fulfilled, that I may go unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening, that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and went unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou begilded me? And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou hast served with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived, and bare a son, and she called his son Reuben. For she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Behold, because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name shall be called Levi. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Now I will praise the Lord. Therefore she called his son Judah, and left bearing. Now this is an interesting story, and practically a perfect love story. It's like, it's also a realistic one. Uh, you have Jacob, who loved Rachel and not Leah. And he worked 7 years to be with Leah due to be with Rachel due to customs. But the customs of that area said that the firstborn be married. Now I'm not sure exactly if Jacob actually married Leah, but I think he did. He married Leah, at least for 7 years, until he could be with Rachel. And again, it doesn't quite make clear whether or not the sons are Jacob's. It just said Leah conceived sons. I think it is with Jacob, but I'm not sure. Then he eventually married Rachel, who apparently could not have kids. So it's like, it's a great love story because of how realistic it is. This setup would not be in today's Hollywood movies because you have your true love and everything works out in the end, for the most part. Here, it's more realistic. He wanted Rachel could have her to work 14 years for her, which he claimed seemed like just weeks. And if that's not love, I don't know what is. Alright, chapter 30. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister, and said to Jacob, Give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel. And he said, Am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? And he said, Behold, my maid Bilhah, go unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, and I may also have children by her. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan. Sorry, it's so funny. It's like you have all these weird names, and then you have Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, With great wrestling have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali, a bit of a far cry from Dan. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah her maid and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, A troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found the mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said unto her, It is a small matter that thou hast taken my husband, and wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him, and said, Thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrake. And he lay with her that night. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob a fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob a sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him six sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And after she bore a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her, and opened her womb, and conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, The Lord shall add me to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, and Jacob said to Laban, Send me away, and I may go unto mine own place, and unto my country. Give me my wives and my children, from whom I have served thee. Let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. And he said, Appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, Thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hast before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude, and the Lord hath blessed thee since thy coming. And now when I shall provide for mine own house also. And he said, What shall I give thee? And Jacob said, Thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep my flock. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come from thy hire before thy face. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, and shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, Behold, I would make it be according to thy word. and removed that day he goats that were ring-straked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that hath some white in it. And all the brown among the sheep gave them unto the hands of his son. And he sent 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flock. And Jacob took him rods and of green poplar, and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and piled white strakes in them, and made the white appear which was the rods. And he said, the rods which he hath piled before the flocks in the gutter, in the watering troughs, when the flock came to drink, and that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle ring-straked, speckled and spotted, and ring-straked means striped. And Jacob did separate the lands, and set the faces of the flocks towards the striped, and all the black flocks of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, and that they might conceive among the rods. And when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in, so the feebler were Laban's, and stronger were Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, in it, and had much cattle, and maidservants and menservants, camels and asses. Now, in the earlier part of this chapter, it seems, throughout this chapter, honestly, you can see how little human nature changed. While it is a great love story, there's still strife. Jacob was laying with pretty much every woman there. Handmaids, his first wife Leah, and second wife Rachel. And while everyone else conceived kids, Rachel is very jealous of everyone, envy. And then she finally bore a son, and finally she was happy, but it's like, that sounds like envy still exists now. And this last part I wrote about the cattle, I would have to read into the future, but it almost sounds like Jacob cheated Laban. He gave him the feeble ones. But again, I'd have to read. We would have to read on to next time because this is a long chapter. But unless I'm mistaken, it almost sounds like Jacob is cheating Laban because it says here, the feebler belonged to Laban, and the stronger belonged to Jacob. And then we come to the spotted and the striped. I'm not sure that means anything. Maybe for clothing, I don't know. But is Jacob cheating him? I honestly don't know. So we'll have to. I don't remember this part of the Bible, so we'll have to continue on. But thank you for listening. Until next time.